Few stories have the power to captivate us more than unresolved ones. Codes, puzzles, and cryptic public art pique our interest. What is the significance of their coded message? What great secrets could they be keeping, despite the best efforts of our most illustrious historians? At number 1, was there a real King Arthur? Over the course of more than 1,000 years, the story of King Arthur has been told and retold numerous times. Camelot, the Knights of the Round Table, Merlin, and the sword Excalibur are all well-known characters from the Arthurian legends. If King Arthur did exist, the reality was probably less magical. The earliest surviving accounts, dating from the 9th century, tell of a leader who fought several battles against the Saxons. However, the veracity of these accounts is questionable. There are several sites in Britain associated with King Arthur legends, such as Tintagel, a coastal site that was supposedly King Arthur's home. However, excavations have not confirmed whether Arthur ever lived there or even existed. Finally, it appears unlikely that scholars will ever know for certain whether King Arthur existed or was purely fictional. At number 2, Shogbarrow Inscription. From a distance, the 18th century Shepherd's Monument in Staffordshire, England, appears to be nothing more than a sculpted recreation of Nicholas Poussin's famous painting, Arcadian Shepherds. When you look closely, you'll notice a strange sequence of letters, DOUOSVAVVM, a code that has eluded solution for over 250 years. Though the identity of the code carver is unknown, some speculate that the code is a clue left behind by the Knights Templar about the location of the Holy Grail. Many of the world's greatest minds, including Charles Dickens and Charles Darwin, have tried and failed to crack the code. At number 3, the Zodiac Letters. The Zodiac Letters are a collection of 4 encrypted messages thought to have been written by the notorious Zodiac Killer, a serial killer who terrorized residents of the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 1960s and early 1970s. The letters were most likely written to mock journalists and police, and while one message has been deciphered, the other 3, including the cipher at the bottom of this letter, remains unchecked. The identity of the Zodiac Killer is also unknown, despite the fact that no Zodiac murders have been identified since 1970. At number 4, is there a city of Atlantis? Plato, a Greek philosopher, wrote in the 4th century BC about a land called Atlantis that existed in the Atlantic Ocean and supposedly conquered much of Europe and Africa in prehistoric times. In the story, the prehistoric Athenians fight back against Atlantis, and Atlantis vanishes beneath the waves. While no serious scholar believes that this story is literally true, some have speculated that it was inspired in part by real events in Greek history. One possibility is that the story of Atlantis was inspired by the Minoan civilization, as it is now known, which flourished on the island of Crete until around 1400 BC. Despite the fact that Crete is in the Mediterranean rather than the Atlantic, Minoan settlements were severely damaged during the eruption of Thera, a Greek volcano. Furthermore, archaeologists discovered that Minoans were eventually defeated by a group of people known as the Mycenaeans who lived on mainland Greece. This debate is unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. Lastly, at number 5. What causes the sailing stones to move? Since the 1940s, people have been perplexed by what appears to be strange goings on the Racetrack Playa, a dry lake bed in Death Valley. Every 10 years or so, stones weighing up to 700 pounds or 318 kilograms appear to move around on their own, leaving long tracks in the parched desert's surface. Various explanations, ranging from dust devils to slippery algae films, have been proposed over the years, but none have been particularly convincing. However, in 2011, researchers from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at the University of California, San Diego decided to crack the case. Because the National Park Service would not allow them to attach GPS devices to the rocks, they brought in 15 similarly sized stones and monitored them. They finally got an answer after 2 years. The playa occasionally fills up with a thin layer of water from rainfall in the winter, which freezes overnight and forms thin sheets of ice. When the sun comes out the next day, the ice melts and cracks into panels, which are then carried across the ice by light winds. However, the stones typically slide at a rate of only a few inches per second, which is slow enough that visitors cannot see the movement from a distance. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.